Welcome back, everybody, to LPL English. Alk and Yanni are here as we are into the draft for Game 2 of this best-of-3 series between BLG and Team WE. As we are already into the draft, already seeing a couple of champions taken away off the board here. So we'll see what the options are going to be as BLG this time is on the blue side.
And they have kind of pick of their litter. Going for the Vi, a champion that did make it through the ban phase this time around. Does kind of open up for either a Vi Talia, a Vi Ari from Knight. Or I guess Ari is banned, so maybe more so looking towards Talia. There could be another mage in like the Aurora. So we'll kind of see what BLG are going to be opting for. But WE immediately opening with the Scion. I kind of want to see a hyper carry for Taeyoon, something that's going to give him the ability to join fights early, similar to what we saw. And Kaisa, I think, can work with that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm cool with that. I think that it's one of his better champions. So put the ball in his hands. He got the LPL Kaisa gene. So going to see that pop off. I am interested to see what BLG is going to pick into Cube here. You know, it feels like some of the best top laners that go into Scion are not available.
I mean, you can just go for the Jax if he feels really really fine about it.
That's fair.
I think you're also still okay with picking the Gnar. It's not as fun to play in the laning phase just because of how much range. It is very good for Bin if he ends up taking that, but still we have that combo that we were talking about. Mid-jungle going to be a big presence here in this game from BLG with this Talia and Vi combo. And now for me, from Team WE, I kind of like the core that they already are showing. Again, I treat Xin Zhao as this champion that does have the ability to skirmish and find longer range engagements, but he is kind of like that pseudo frontline by getting that crescent sweep. So what other kind of damage dealing champions can we get from them? I mean, I think an Aurora potentially here for Karis is nice. If they want to go the tankier route, a Ryze can definitely open up a couple of possibilities for Team WE.
Yeah, we're going to need to see some sort of damage come out there because too many times I'll see Xin Zhao with a weak mid laner or a mid laner that will take too much time to scale, and the early impact is minimized. You know, we don't really get to see the Xin Zhao try to run over games and maybe make some opportunities pre-6 that Wei might not be able to make necessarily. We already see a couple of bans out on the top side. That Gnar you mentioned earlier is not going to be available, and Victor taken out, so clearly aiming at the Karis champion pool.
Yep. Same thing that happened last game, right? They put 2 bans on the second phase towards Karis, and this time around, maybe focusing... I mean, they already banned Talia, so they banned Talia, Ari, Silas, and Victor. In terms of champions that we have seen Taeyoon play, it can be either the Corki, it can be the Ryze, like we were noticing. I had said that, like, I really like the Ryze here, but instead they want to try to snap up a support pick. I think it's a bit dangerous, especially when you do see on the opposite side for BLG. They already have this misfortune. You have to imagine that they're trying to pair this up with stuff like the Leona. So, gonna be quite interesting to see. I mean, you're okay with this matchup. Early game, it's gonna be a lot of damage here for BLG. I think if you were Team WE, I think you were more willing to sacrifice some of your laning prowess and say that you're gonna be willing to scale. So we'll see what Bin is going for. He's had counterpick for most of this game, and he's going to have the last pick on his draft.
Don't do it. There we go. Do that. No, bad. I don't want to see that champion, but we will. York is going to get locked in. It makes sense. It makes sense. And now we're going to put the ball into Karis' hands. Remember, we did that in game 1 with the earlier Tristana pick. It did not go well later on in the game. We are going to end up giving him the Ryze in the mid lane.
Okay, and this is... okay, so Bin has played Yorick 6 times competitively. All of them in the LDL when he was on Suning's Academy roster. He's got a single win on it. So he's 1-5. But when we look at this team from BLG, what I want to see from them, not only do you have Knight on this Talia who can move from lane to lane very fluidly, especially with either the passive or the ultimate, it's going to be very easy for them to control mid waves. So BLG can basically play with 2 members sitting in Fog of War and play around this Yorick in a side lane. He's going to be very untouchable. So WE, they need to take control of one of these objectives, preferably around these dragons, and see what they can do to try to open up the map and play away from this Yorick, because it is going to be particularly difficult for them. And I think trying to play around the fact that BLG are more times than not going to be 4v5 in fights is something that they're going to have to try and leverage.
Yeah, you have to be really snappy. You cannot wait. You have to just be like, hey, listen, we're going to go, and you need to win the fights convincingly. You can't just go 1-0 in the fight, because then that's going to require your Scion to come down. Then the Yorick is going to be able to do whatever he wants. And then you can't be undecided and wishy-washy, because then you can get picked off, right? And if you're getting picked off and the Yorick's in the side lane, it's going to be really, really bad. This is a champion that, has had mild success so far to kick things off, but you can see when it works, the gears really turning and the pressure that makes opposing teams crumble.
And for Team WE, I mean, they have a composition and another kind of game here where they can carry as this game goes further, but I'm a little worried about their early games, and we've already seen them play around objectives. It's not as solid versus their team, so needing a big win here in game number 2.
Before we dig in, we really want to show our gratitude to our Coffee and YouTube subscribers who help us level up our show. A lot of the initial payments go into upgrading the broadcast, but a huge bulk of it pays on-air talent and our content creators. Subscribe to our Coffee, that'll be linked in the chat, to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for unique on-site interviews, as Monki perhaps a little did a couple rocks to the back. It's like my childhood.
I'm not even ask about that.
That never happened.
All right, cool. Yeah, nice. Lying on broadcast. Haven't done that before. Pretty big chunk here for Monki. He has access to some healing thanks to Xin Zhao, but I mean, with both of them starting on the top side and early vision, should be interesting to see how BLG play around with this amount of information on enemy jungle.
Both players starting up on that top side here. And you did mention that Leona Misfortune combo going to be very detrimental to a guy like Vampire, who, as we talked about, has been known to go a little over-aggressive at times. If you go a little too far in against Leona, you're going to pay for it big time.
So, kind of have to be watching. Part of the reason that Misfortune is so strong is, aside from the fact that she is a notoriously strong laner and her team fight setup, bar none, has some of the most impact with a bullet time. She is just really, really resilient about being able to sit on mid waves and be kind of unmovable in that same way. So we're getting a mid lane bout here as Knight tries to get back into the wave. Wei got barely spotted there and obviously goes right into a ward. So both teams will know that their junglers are on the bottom side of the map, that both junglers are on the side of the map. So I wonder if there's going to be a particular play here, or if BLG are just going to say, look, our 3:30, 4:30 timer for lane swap detection is going to be over soon. We're just going to take our leave.
Well, Monki is looking to show up on Maeve, stepped up a little bit too far. He's going to get rooted, and Monki will be able to get here. Dashes toward Elk on his low. First blood to Taeyoon.
Okay. They get that first blood. Good job from Monki. We said that one of his weaknesses was that he is willing to drop camps to make plays happen. And here, in the second game, they turn it right into a strength as they play around their bottom lane, grab themselves a couple of these, at least one of these kills onto on. And so that'll at least open up a small advantage for Team W in their bottom lane. And he still has camps to be able to do, while also, I mean, he dodged out on his Raptor camp. Ben?
Wow, he's
should be fine. He has last rites healing.
Yeah, that heals for so much. I have a feeling that'll be nerfed a couple patches from now, but we'll see. Wei showing up in the mid lane, just trying to scare off Karis a little bit there. But one of the big things is that, with that gank at the bottom side, Monki was able to avoid the vision that Knight had put down that just expired. All right. Didn't think we were going to see a potential 2v2 happen, but Monki will be able to head to the top side. look like he'll be able to snag up that top lane.
Okay. I will say, I'm pretty excited about this early game for Team WE. They already had a bit of a wavering of whether or not they're actually going to be able to do anything, especially, again, Kaisa, Nautilus, bottom lane, not particularly a very potent duo when it comes to the laning phase. They have some damage thanks to Plasma procs, but being able to kind of get a little bit of work done does skip some of the curve here for our 280 carries, and especially for Team WE, I think a big reliance on this guy in Taeyoon if they want to be able to win today's game.
Well, Taeyoon, level 4, has the Cull in the back pocket, as does Elf, so once they pop those, have a little bit of a fusion of gold. And, you know, we were talking about this a little bit from what we want to see out of BLG. We expect this to be a clean 2-0, as mentioned before, but, you know, we really want to see them have, like, a clean game start to finish. It feels like they haven't really had that yet against many opponents that they've dealt with, even through Split 1 as well. So, you know, a discouraging sign here early on.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is the ebb and flow of the game, right? Like, you're not going to be able to win every single fight, at least for the majority of the game. Also, they did take like a pretty dominant 2-0 over Thunder Talk in Split 2 already, so I think they're currently looking like a top 4, top 5 team, but it's some of the workings, especially, again, around Wei. So we'll see how that ends up balancing out here in this matchup. I think when we looked at this series, we didn't think this was going to be as important as the one that's coming up after this. There's going to be a matchup for BLG at the end of this week versus TES, and that, I think, is going to be the bigger test for them, whether or not. And now, Bin, hello.
The Maiden is here, but I don't know how much it's going to help. The Monki is going down really low. It will be able to land the knock-up and take them out. This is a first kill for Monki over on the top side. Wei showing up for those grubs.
And there was a potential move coming in from BLG. I mean, Wei was kind of making the long ways trek over there. Talia shadowed on their side of the map, but now it's going to be BLG's turn. Karis can kind of move halfway after collecting this one wave and look for a Realm Warp. I think this is very tricky, though.
It's going to be a little late. All right, On's going to get onto Taeyoon. Taeyoon cleanse flash, but he is dead. On able to get out of there, but this turret is heated up. Second shot on the Knight almost kills him. Vampire will survive, but Karis couldn't get there.
Karis is gonna, like, are we picking up this wave or are we leaving, brother? He put some inputs going backwards here. So he'll catch this wave, and that should mean this is the first set of grubs going over to BLG.
Yeah, nice play by them up there. It wasn't super clean, but it was totally fine, and he got the summoners out of Taeyoon, which is really big. Monki going to finally secure this dragon, and BLG getting these grubs is going to be very good for Bin.
If he's allowed to hit the turret. No one in this game, aside from Rise. So, okay, it's funny that we kind of have this matchup here, because typically when we talk about Rise, he's supposed to be like this amazing side laner that is really tough to move at the very least because of how much HP and some resistances he gets access to thanks to just how he's built. But Yorick used to be like an old school counter into Rise, where you would just kind of be able to trade with him early. You didn't have Grasp of the Undying, or you did during that time, but like you could also use stuff like ZZ Rot Portal and some of his other kind of like unique passives. Just having that Rune Prison, or the prison in general, was very dangerous. We're teleporting 2 members under this turret just to catch this wave. Whoa! Whoa! Monki! Brother!
All right, this wave secured. You know what? That's what they wanted.
But how much gold are they going to get from this? Because look what's happening bot side. Taeyoon and Nautilus are just hitting on this turret for free. Bin is now walking into top side jungle. They are hankering to get this first turret here for Knight. So much gold potentially going into this Talia.
Yep, and then Bin's going to show up too, be able to help out there with that gold. But we talked about the bell cow for Team WE. Taeyoon, as you mentioned, going to get a lot of gold on that bottom side, a lot of CS for himself as well. Just a matter of getting this guy to a position where he can make an impact known in fights.
That was the most Steve-sounding yell from Sion I've ever heard in my entire life. That guy sounds like he's like, you know, he's at the tailgate, Hey, he's just taking a run in his flip-flops.
Bro is pre-gamed at that tailgate and was ready.
We need
God, I
Graggy
can't wait
Ice
for the summer.
Scion.
Ooh, that's good. You know, I think we just need a Graggy Ice to begin with.
Drink responsibly, folks.
Yes, please do.
Here for Team WE, we're kind of looking at the rest of this game right now, and not too far in, only 9.5 minutes in, but I'm looking at these objectives, 2.5 for that Dragon and 1.5 for the Grubs. Probably going to be looking at a swap for them. They've already placed that mid lane wave. Again, what we talked about with this Misfortune, it is so easy for BLG to walk up, clear the wave versus Kaisa, and then play to one of these side lanes, especially now that Misfortune, I mean, that Strut passive just offers so much. Karis gonna have to flash.
That's him in the corner. He's got to step up, try to move to the side. The flash means that wave's going to be under the turret, but the seismic shove pulls him back in. The bullet time only saves Monki, not the mid laner, but here's big knockups coming through. Monki flashes out. Taeyoon can't close out on the kill on the way. He walks away with it. Taeyoon down to half, but he's stepping on the Legos. He's got to find a way out because the autos and the double up are there. Teleport, though, from behind. Elk is barriered up, but it's gone now. Cube trying to get close. Knight gets the kill onto Vampire. And Elk, a seismic shove keeps him alive, but he flashed right into Monki.
I don't think he was ready for that. Okay, full charge Scion Q. And we're out of there. Okay, everybody's lost their mind around the bottom lane wave. But if you're BLG, you're looking at this, you're saying, okay, we got the flash out of Karis. We made the flash out of Monki. Can't be too mad about that. We're going to make a replete performance onto Scion here. He has ultimate coming up in a few seconds. This is a bit rough.
All right, well, Cuba's walking deeper into enemy territory, perhaps just trying to get around and get a clear path to ult away. Will burn his flash for it.
And that's a bit of a lone time here for Team WE in their bottom lane. They'll be able to hit this mid lane turret, at least get a wave crashed underneath. Elk does have enough time to be able to get here in time, but it'll be a single plit going over. And now Team WE have positioning over these second sets of Grubs. And BLG are missing a few ultimates. In my mind, I am looking at the fact that no bullet time and no cease and desist from this Vi. So they're going to have to be very creative with how they get into this fight. But instead, they're just prioritizing bottom lane waves and getting Knight a lot of gold in this game, which kind of similar to last game for Karis. It seems like BLG are putting a lot of their time and effort into getting this Talia ahead of the curve versus the Rise.
Nothing. Looking at what they're trying to do here is they want to get more gold from the death of Cube. Way tanking it up. Almost goes down to it. Cube escapes as well.
You are in there, brother.
Yeah. They did force Taeyoon's cleanse.
Okay. And I mean, Scion survives. We're still getting a farm fest. We haven't talked about some of our other laners. Karis and Bin have been sitting off in top lane, just looking at each other, trading minion waves here. But wow, this is a really old replay. Yeah, we get to check Karis. Our observer's kind of showing us. I think this is the part where it looks a little bit dicey for them, especially with having the Crescent sweep. And right here, Taeyoon, I really wish that he had ultimate here. Just fly into that backline. He puts the auto on Knight. I saw this live, and I really wanted to double check this out into replay. That is a massive mistake here from Taeyoon. It's a kill not going over to them. They obviously still lose out onto this trade, and then we get to kind of see the madness that is the rest of this play.
Yeah, I really want to shout out Vampire during that play. Yeah, unfortunate there, but Vampire with a good flash hook, and then the knock-up onto 3 targets to disrupt what looked like a clean BLG fight.
Okay, so now we're kind of looking at this game, Yanni, and while the gold is relatively even, only 1,000 going over to Team WE, the Dragon just now going over to BLG. I am looking at their lane assignments. We talked about how WE, the way that they want to operate this game is kind of just walking around as a multiple man unit, seeing what they can get and really being resilient. They're trying to make this play on. I just don't think this is it.
All right, well, Knight is going to drop the wall down to try to split it up. Vampire gets to the back line. Multiple knockups coming through. The first target is going to be Wei as he's chopped down. Nice pick there for Team WE.
Okay. They traded some summoner spells here. I mean, you're still not super happy about that, but will buy the side of Team WE a little bit of breathing room here in this game. I don't think it fixes a lot of the issues they were talking about, which is how do we ever contest on mid-wave, and how do we ever kind of use that pressure to be able to walk into fog of war? How are we stopping Talia right now from being more of a nuisance? She's getting closer and closer to finishing that Saros, but Vampire
the
having double
flash
save
from
mid laner. What the hell? Oh my god,
Yeah.
Karis, that's so dry!
Oh my goodness, he just was a little too close, got hit by the seismic shove, and the turret helped out Knight. Got the job done there. Meanwhile, we see our top laners still going at it. Feels like at any moment, though, you know, Bin can whittle down Cube just enough to close out a kill.
Okay, well, Bin just gets to reset, get level 11, have Trinity Force after this next wave. Sounds good to me, you know? That sounds like a perfectly reasonable plan for me. That sounds like a reasonable strategy for Bin. And his ability to side lane is going to continue to be potent. They're even getting the teleport out from Karis just to be able to pick up this wave. Not too bad here for BLG. Some hiccups along the way this game. Potentially another play here as Cube teleports in. He has a lot of HP though.
Yeah, but they're going to try to chop him down. He's down to half now as Knight is getting good damage in. And Cube will be forced to ult away immediately after teleporting.
So now they have no reason to be able to play around this topside objective, right? Like, Herald is spawning in 45. You now have lost both of your summoner spells in terms of the teleports. And Cube, while he is staying, at the very least, he's just going to be able to catch this minion wave. I really advantage BLG being able to grab this Herald, because now what they're able to do is kind of take out some of the safety of Taeyoon sitting over under this mid-tier 1 and move more of their influence into the jungle, taking away camps from Monki, making it difficult for Karis or for Cube to get into these longer lanes and stay under these tier 1s.
Uh-oh. Yeah, Karis is just getting run down here by Bin. He has struggled against either side laner in both of these games.
BLG making a pretty peculiar decision here. I was just talking about wanting to play for early Herald, but the fact that they then moved their bottom lane and committed to them sitting in bot side jungle means that they do lose access to mid lane right now. They'll be able to make a play afterwards with On coming through. He does have the ultimate here, so maybe this will be an extended play from BLG if this keeps going. It'll stop them from losing the mid-tier 1, but now potentially BLG instead leveraging the fact that Bin was able to grab that turret. I mean, he really wants to, he'll teleport for this play and kind of move WE away from this objective.
Yeah, now BLG has gotten into this topside river to be able to take this Rift Herald if they want. We do see 4 members strong on the top side for Team WE, so could see a little bit of scrapping going over for the Herald, and a really important objective for BLG to secure. We talked about how, you know, they've got great side laning prowess, so no matter where you drop it, whether it's to help your side laners or to advance your 3-man strategy in the mid lane, it will be very impactful.
I'll be honest. You kind of look at Team WE, and obviously they would love to take an objective. If they're able to grab this Herald, they're feeling pretty good about where they are in the game. I mean, you're still a little bit down, but anything that helps you grab turrets, that helps you kind of get rid of some of the safety of this misfortune in that mid-tier 1 is very nice. But look at Bin, sitting in a side lane, playing this Yorick. Who's going to match? We've now canceled the recall, so he's going to get so much off of this.
That's huge. We talked about this. The fact that Bin can just do whatever he wants. All you have to do is just delay, right? And now Karis has to go for him, which is less effective in the fight. Here we go. A little bit of damage coming out. Way off to the side. Knocked up. Monki's on top of him too. Bullet time coming through as Way's forced to flash away. Seismic shove down as they re-engage onto Monki and dump everything on him and take him out. Taeyoon over the wall does not have the damage for it. And Bin took a tier 2. Knight riding the wall there as Cube is forced to flash away, and the split push hasn't stopped.
Yeah, I mean, Karis came over, stopped him for a little bit, and then was like, oh wait, maybe I have to kind of walk on over to what's happening in our topside jungle. But BLG make a massive play onto Team WE after losing the Herald, and kind of make a big splash in this game where they traded some of their summoner spells, and maybe that comes to bite them around this next dragon. But now you're looking at this next fight. I really do kind of still favor Team WE from this spot. We get to take a look at this replay. The original plan was just delay, just to make sure that Bin gets some alone time. This turns into a bit of a weird spot here as Cube versus Wei is kind of a fight. And I thought this was an interesting part where it was a good start to stop Wei from jumping over the wall, but he gets to find that Vault Breaker over. He already has the Kaisa ult, and at this point is just all the misgivings, all the misplays from WE in that single play, all starting to culminate there. And now Team WE trying to grab this dragon, but again, the ability to clear mid wave. Oh my god!
Yeah, they make a quick play on the on there, and the kill goes over to Karis. Meanwhile, Cube gets to the backside, but he's able to make at least a little bit of an impact. Way is kind of cut off here, and he'll fall too. It's a double kill for the Rise, and Team WE back with a vengeance, but the split push is still there, trying to make a one more play on to Knight. Knight is able to flash over the wall. Monki won't be going in though.
And look who is on the side lane. We have a side lane report coming on in from the picture-in-picture. Bin gonna continue to raise towers as Team WE, they summon in the Rift Herald. It's gonna get a one last crash. Wow, 20 HP is the last number I saw there. And this should just be the dragon going over to BLG. I mean, Way's only just now respawning. The part that we talked about for BLG on getting caught out in some of these fights beforehand has been a big issue for them, and is going to now lose them the dragon.
All right, well, he's going in again. Monki is on top of Knight, though. See if we can have any continuation of a fight as Cube joins. Monki is forced to flash away because Bin was around.
Bin invested the teleport for this play, and he is so strong on this Yorick. That's the flash out from Taeyoon, so a pretty good summoner spell to grab as BLG, but he has Trinity Force and the Spear of Shojin at 20 minutes. He is incredibly strong. I mean, he's basically at the same item breakpoint as his AD carry, and Miss Fortune has a lot of gold under her belt right now. So, Bin, with the amount of resources he's gathered for himself, he is.
Can he crash into Knight? He does. Doesn't have a full amount of damage there. Knight with a shield trying to live, but he falls on the backside. Elk is low, and Taeyoon uses his ultimate to take him down on the side. But the health bars, they're just not there, although Cube is really tanky. Bin is going to move to Taeyoon, and the Maiden going to help out and siphon the soul away. But Cube is really thick, and Karis is too. But Karis is starting to melt under the pressure of the ghouls. On tries to get him to help out his top laner and is able to do so. And now he's got to cut and run, but he's chopped down in the back. But no mana left for Cube as Bin has run this fight, and he's the last man standing.
You said there were some beefy boys in front of him, but I think you forget about Gigabin on the Yorick here, making it look so good. He has an easy job in this fight. He's just walking around, slamming his shovel, and he just makes Team WE go straight to the grave here as a massive swing for them, basically saving them in that fight here. As we talked about, he had so many resources, and this is just a messy start here for BLG. We have the flank coming in from Karis with being able to find Knight. Elk moving way too far forward and getting caught out between Monki and the rest of the team. So this was a fight that was starting to go over in favor of Team WE, with World Elite having, you know, this fully resourced up Rise. You have this Scion next to them. There was a potential for them to win this, but Bin does way too much damage. That 2 core items. He went to back. I saw right before we went to the replay. He has a fully completed Hull Breaker now. So 3 items for this Yorick.
Yeah, I think he just finished his second too. So he got so much gold out of that fight, right? I mean, he was 0-1-0 going into that fight. He took a blue buff, and then he took some lives, and then he went and picked up a shiny new toy. I don't think anybody on Team WE is going to be able to stop him at this point.
Okay. Using the ultimate there from Talia just to see if they can try to catch out Taeyoon. It's going to turn that into a mid-tier 1 for them. And on the side lane, who is dealing with Bin? It's Bin versus Scion versus Karis, potentially all of Team WE.
All right, you got to commit everybody, but we talked about this. You commit them all to take him out, and you lost 2 turrets for it as BLG just taking gold off the map.
And if they can stall for 30 seconds, maybe they get a death bush. Maybe they just clear out vision and top side. You can start to make Team WE sweat for this Otacon. BLG are going to give over ground here. They don't really want to take a fight without them having more information. They are also missing some key summoner spells. No Flash for Knight, nor for Elk. They do have some very important ultimates. You kind of see them playing around in Fog of War. Team WE, this feels like the Hail Mary, and Bin is going to be up in 10 seconds, no teleport.
Yeah, teleport, it's coming soon, but it's not quite there. All right, let's see what BLG is going to be able to do. The pings are there. Elk does have his ultimate if he's ready to be patient over the wall, and he is. Does a lot of damage as On's going to get engaged on, but he's alive for right now, and they find Vampire to make it a 4v4. As Yorick is now sprinting, On goes back in, Karis goes golden, but they find Monki. Cube with the knockups. Taeyoon trying to do what he can, though, as they're on Elk now. Taeyoon ults in, and the LPL Kaisajin putting in work. But Knight gets away, and Bin, the snipe for a triple kill for Taeyoon.
Oh, he's teleporting, and he's out of there! There we go, WE win a massive fight around the Otacon. The Otacon was basically like the 11th man in the roster, dealing damage to both teams, shredding resistances, and making it so close there for Team WE. They end up going 2 for 4 in that trade, and a massive win for them. Keeps them competitive. I just don't know if it's going to keep them in winning position as we get back into this. This Otacon was so close to going down. Even this bullet time, while it doesn't get as much damage onto some of the carries, it stops them from being in this fight, with Cube also zoning so much of this play. This stopwatch from Karis, I think, saves the entire play, because if Karis gets caught out there, there's a numbers disadvantage, and Bin potentially even gets more out of this play than he already got.
Yeah, thank goodness for WE that Bin wasn't able to really do much, and we're going to see a run war play come out here as they're going to try to kill Bin. Remember, committing many members, but BLG is in tow. How fast can you kill Bin? It looks like they're going to stop and look to take out the dragon. Taeyoon's going to get that kill, and Monki is really low as this dragon crumbles. So it's 2 dragons apiece, and WE can't continue a fight.
Is Bin 50 or something, bro? Like, many men trying to kill him. They're just trying to take him down here.
Oh!
WE fighting again.
He sniped Elk, and now On is completely caught out. It's another pick for Team WE, and BLG is crumbling in these last few fights.
This was the part of the game that we said was going to get very tricky for BLG.
No, Taeyoon!
Playing at range.
He did
Taeyoon
it!
flies on forward.
Oh, I love it. Knight is super low, way over the wall, looking for Taeyoon, plus the bullet time. Taeyoon flashes
alive!
to barely live. Not able to land a snipe on the way out, but this should buy enough room for WE to take an objective.
I don't think there's any much time though. Taeyoon's too low. I think this is really fake from them. Teleport
right.
now coming in. Wei is still available, but he has no
Taeyoon's got
smite.
nothing.
And Taeyoon's almost dead during all of this. I think we can't do this, guys.
This is so scary. This is really worrisome. Cube is going to try to play goalie here to keep them off, but the Baron is taking these guys too low, and BLG want to take an objective. Now they can.
Okay, no, I just, oh my god, they're gonna go for it. I mean, Elk is full health. Team WE may have completely costed themselves a winning situation here. It's going to be Karis, Monki, Vampire, and Cube that will line up around this Baron. Taeyoon has ult in 10 seconds. He'll be able to join in time, but the Baron is almost down.
Here we go. On the backside of Flash is forced out. Monki caught in the cage, not doing just fine. Here comes Cube on the side. Oh, he carries Taeyoon! Taeyoon got time! And the Baron secured for WE! On the backside falls. Bin trying to deal with Karis, but he's going to go down too. It's another Taeyoon triple, and in the blink of an eye, WE might have just won the game.
They got Baron, and like you're just saying, death timers are long enough. We said we would be happy with BLG taking a 2-0, with them being very dominant in this series, but Team WE, they took an upset yesterday versus TES in one game, and it looks like they're going to do it against BLG here again.
LPL 80 carries continue to be the most dangerous force on Earth known to man. This time, it's Taeyoon carrying the hopes and dreams of WE fans everywhere, and they even up the series with BLG.
They win their second game a day after winning their first in Split 2. I mean, something's got to be in the water, man. I don't know if it was the change of bringing in Monki or just the team just decided, hey, enough is enough. We really hate losing, because we're getting fights here where Team WE, they finally made a comeback. We thought maybe this was going to be a mirage from yesterday, and more of the woes from BLG finally bite them.
Yeah, it looked like when BLG took those 2 turrets in the mid lane, yep, this is what happens. They're going to get split pushed on all game. BLG's going to take stuff on the other sides, and this is going to end up being a 2-0, but Team WE did a great job of fighting back and making snappy decisions. Okay, where are we going? We're going here. We're going as a team. We're going to get the job done, and then being able to transition them over into plays. And a couple of quick picks, too. BLG putting themselves in poor positions after those plays that were made onto Bin.
The problem that I have with this game is that, like, for a large majority of it, BLG were winning, and I feel like the loss here was a product of what BLG did and not necessarily a lot of what WE were able to accomplish. Because on a side lane, we saw BLG and Bin were able to get a lot of gold, but for when it was happening and what his team was able to accomplish, I feel like we just took really weird timers to kind of stand in a pose versus your opponents.
Yeah.
Part of this is like, why is On trying to make it engage? Let's just wait for Bin. Bin's going to be TPing, or he'll have access within the next 15 seconds. Let's just wait for him to come back online. Why are we as Wei trying to make this play onto Kaisa? And we're not even, like, that one is obviously like a, damn, we just barely got him, he lives with 1 HP, but mistakes like that, we said beforehand, better teams are going to punish you. Team WE finally did it. They were able to, like, okay, we're gonna be able to cosplay the better team this time and finally win.
Yeah, now BLG is like, they have to be sweating bullets right now, right? Even though you were in control of that game, I mean, anything can happen in a third game. We've seen it, and Team WE in line for, dare I say, the craziest upset of the season so far to be able to make it happen. Again, still gonna have a mountain to climb. We haven't thought that their play's been perfect today. We've seen some nice moments, and in this game, it was all good moments from BLG, but then, again, WE taking advantage. Those were their nice moments, able to take advantage and punish BLG.
Ah, man, that's such a tough game to lose as BLG because you're in such a decent spot there. You still end up losing the range war there, and I don't know. There was just a lot of question marks. I think weighing on the jungle support, people we had questions for and kind of criticisms coming into this series and so far throughout 2025, still ringing true here, and reasons why they're losing to Team WE. And this does start to cast a shadow onto BLG. I think we have to kind of come to grips with the fact that this just isn't the same team that we had from last year, the team that was ultra dominant, that was back-to-back LPL champions in 2024. The fact that they had some of the best lanes across the league, and some of these things still might be true, but the fact that we're losing individual games to a team like Team WE is not what we want for, and not what we should expect from a team that literally was just in the grand finals not, 8 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, both the finals of both internationals, as you said, the split champions in both splits. I mean, it's such a large departure from what they were, and it's disappointing to see, right, when you see great teams come through and be really impactful on the world stage, and then come home domestically and don't really make too many waves in split 1, and now here in split 2 you're worried about losing to Team WE. Like, this is just something that should not be happening. I don't really have words for it. This is a complete and utter shock.
All I'm seeing is that I'm feeling very validated about my York is insanely useless. I'm the fact that Shanji has a win on that is more of an indictment on that game than it was, the champion. And York is strong. He did get a rework. I think solo queue, he's great, but I just don't think with how teamfight oriented the game is right now, especially with, I think, the fact that we didn't see a majority of the grubs go over to BLG, so he couldn't be more of a menace. Some of those topside objectives start to come back to bite you, and split pushing hasn't really been a large portion of the game in terms of how you win or how you are able to win for a pretty long time now. It's helped you gain minor gold leads, but it's really just how effective in a team fight are you, and that's why we're kind of coming back to a lot of our older champions, the Vi being so prevalent in almost all of our games.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking, well, while you were making that point, it's just the way that BLG played it incorrectly. But really, you're right. The game, I should say, has become so team fight focused, as you said. And yeah, you know what? I'm with you on that one. I think that this champion is just not able to really be impactful right now as you see this replay. We didn't really mention it, obviously, because it was just a part of the fight, but Monki with another big steal. I mean, he had 2 dragon steals yesterday, too. I mean, this guy, while at times has been a little suspect, ice water in his veins.
Yeah,
for objectives,
man. Yeah, okay. I can agree with that one. Who are we giving MVP, dude?
Taeyoon.
It's probably Taeyoon.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
I think this dude made a lot of individual plays with his Kaisa ultimates. that really were a big reason why his team was able to win this game.
He gets to cheat being around the map. That was the
Yeah.
big portion for me, right?
Yeah.
Is one of the stats we had coming in is that while Taeyoon has one of the largest damage shares for any AD carry and any individual player of one team, his kill participation is some of the lowest in his role. So he usually is doing a lot of damage for his team, but isn't necessarily represented in a lot of fights, and I think that's because of the fact that his team tends to fight when he's not there, and Kaisa does let him get around that. A great MVP going over to Taeyoon.
Yep, 79% kill participation for him. Well deserved from the Team WE AD carry. And this does mean we'll be going to a short break, and when we return, the final draft for this best of 3. Team WE looking to send shockwaves throughout the LPL. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you soon.